Hello and welcome to a Squadron 42 progress report for February 2024. Squadron 42, single player Star Citizen campaign. Looking forward to it. Squadron 42 episode 1 is in its polishing phase now. Still lots of hype about it from CitizenCon stuff that was shown in October. Its features are being ported over to Star Citizen's persistent universe now, and the next major Star Citizen patch, Alpha 3.23, has a ton of those refined features in it. It's very cool. Various teams have completed their work on Squadron 42 and are now moving over to the persistent universe to help bring those features into the persistent universe. However, there is no release date yet. We're expecting big things at CitizenCon this year. Hopefully a release date announced, potentially it being released later this year, but that's a bit more hopeful thinking, so I think that's not that likely. However, we do have a lot of development info on what CIG have been working on over the last few weeks and what they're focused on now from their monthly report. The core gameplay team, they continue to polish Starmap features, including new box outs to give information about the selected location and what services it provides. It also gives the option to set quantum routing, drawing the route between the current location and destination, similar to the current Starmap, but it's better. It works. It looks better. The character customizer gained further improvements, allowing the player to save and load their character in, which also enables the backing up and sharing of customized character appearances. So you can make your character once when you customize it, and you've got like a code for it, and then you don't have to keep on making your character. You can actually share what your character looks like with that code and remake it with that code. A randomization function was also worked on to give aesthetically pleasing results. Core gameplay worked alongside the back-end team to help with data serialization and compress the data size as much as possible to make sending character data to other clients as efficient as possible. The gameplay story team began the year improving scenes across different chapters. Several scenes were updated with new mocap at the start or end or both to post-match to systemic animations. This ensures they dovetail well with the rest of the game and makes them more robust. One tricky scene in Chapter 14 was apparently completely overhauled with new mocap and is now considered by design to be bulletproof. Alongside this, the team communicated with stakeholders to establish a proper standard for the grip setup for helmets. They are currently batch updating helmet animations to use the new setup, which will unblock a lot of long-standing issues. Level design and social narrative teams, so they started the year where they left off, striving to close out Archon Station's social area. This walk and talk section presents particular challenges, including the potential for players to leave their guide and explore the station. The devs also closed out outstanding issues on the social section of Chapter 1 and continue to focus on the Idris interstitials and a key scene in Chapter 8. Work was done on conversations between the Idris crew, who reference the player and current in-game situation based on what's happening. Environment art strike teams progressed with Chapter 1, 4 and 5. They said they've pushed a lot of core development teams into delivering these chapters alongside the design teams. It's been rewarding to see the progress we've been making together on these locations. Locations-wise, passes were made on the interior hangar, security, social, and bridge sections of Archon Station, while the white box metric art for store interiors was converted to final. The Javelin destroyer received a complete pass, including intact and damaged interiors, a full lighting pass, and dynamic dressing that reacts to the damaged version of the ship. Environment art also continued to update the Javelin's exterior to a new higher standard for capital ship exteriors. Once completed, they'll move on to the damaged version. Locations in Chapter 4 were also worked up to a high standard, including the interior of some asteroid truck stops and an abandoned ship. The Odin system saw some updates with a new Sun Nebula that can be seen during downtime. The narrative team continued to work on the game's collectibles. The teams continue to coordinate with artists to create memorable and eye-catching things to discover. Additionally, they spent time diving deeper into how players will learn information on the game's lore through the Galactopedia. They will get this information as they naturally progress through the story. I'm really looking forward to that actually coming into Star Citizen's persistent universe. There's sort of Galactopedia there that tracks what you know in the game and lore, and gets you information at the click of a button to go, oh, actually, what is the lore on this? Oh, that might actually be useful to me in games somehow. The UI team continued to polish the vehicle UI, including getting some of the holographic elements to appear on physical screens for the lower tech ships. They also improved the display of quantum travel information and polished elements of the turret UI. They added various animated screens to make the scenes in-game more interesting, including enemy tech, screens for civilian areas, and help show the story in a key section near the start of the game. Regarding FPS UI, a pass was started to bring the lens up to standard now that the visor is in a good state. They said, we've been working on some updated concepts to give it a fresher look, whilst also including some of the improvements that we created for the visor. VFX continued to support art, design, and cinematics teams with their VFX requirements. This included updating the dynamic fire effects to work in additional locations to accommodate new gameplay scenarios. They also created a new rotor to make sure the number of VFX-related data errors was reduced to 0. Each week, an artist is picked to work directly with the embedded VFX QA team member to ensure the existing bug list is kept at 0 week to week. The animation team further refined the feel of the AI in a number of chapters to better tell the story. They also worked on malfunctions, prone, EVA, and several boss fights, and further refined combat animations for different enemy types. They're currently implementing several new story beats to better align how levels feel. This is supported by the mocap team via focused shoots that quickly add improvements into the game. On the facial front, the team is also at work implementing additional lines for Old Man to add more value to the player's relationship with him. AI content progressed with Shubin Station and Chapter 5, with a focus on the main hangar, security, tram stations A and B, the social hub, and main bridge. This included working on the utility, deck, bridge, and engineering crews, and security, tram passengers, hub patrons, and vendors. AI content continued to focus on improving a variety of personal locations and lockers, specifically NPCs approaching lockers, changing out of their base outfits, entering cubicles to shower, and then returning to their lockers to get dressed again. AI features continue to polish the technology used to fire arced rocket pods. This system solves equations that have multiple variables, angle of throw and speed, and a range of solutions that need to be evaluated. On top of the arcing solution, collision checks must be performed, which repurposes existing technology created for grenades and other arced fire weapons. Final polish of behaviors in levels is currently underway to ensure the details of animations and systemic behaviors form a cohesive whole. AI Tech worked on a few different things, and we've covered some of that in our Persistent Universe monthly report already, so go check that out. You should always see this report as the sister report to that. But for Spaceship AI, the team focused on numerous bugs and improvements specifically for combat scenarios and AI traits, the latter of which helps to influence AI logic, for example, by allowing NPCs to prefer certain behaviors over others. This allows the designers to balance gameplay based on the enemy faction players are fighting, and they've continued to improve their existing traits, like the Strafer Override, which forces the pilot to always choose the strafer tactic, and Speed Freak, which always chooses to boost and has slightly higher speeds. Should give you some good variety in the combats and pilots and sort of dogfights that you get to engage in. Boom! That's it for your Squadron 42 update for February. I'm really interested to know, are you super excited for Squadron 42? When do you think there is actually going to be a release date? Do you think they're going to announce a release date at like CitizenCon this year? Or do you think we'll actually have Squadron 42 Episode 1 out by the end of the year? I think, as I said earlier, it's pretty hopeful to expect Squadron 42 to be out by the end of the year. But I mean, we can always be hopeful, right? Obviously, there's still a load of work going into Squadron 42, even though it's in its polishing phase. There are less devs working on Squadron 42 now because they are just doing that polish. But fortunately, loads of information coming out about Squadron. And we may well see Squadron 42 start to get its advertising back. They did the briefing room and they've had some Squadron 42 shows that they've shown previously that they said they would return once Squadron 42 was nearer completion. So maybe later this year, we will start to see stuff like that again as well. Anyway, whatever your questions or thoughts, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. People always ask me, what's your favourite ship? And I always answer, it's NordVPN. With its powerful loadout, it wrecks pros and noobs alike. I can cruise around the verse with the added security that online threats aren't as much of a big deal. It also deals with intrusive ads like this one and gives you a greater accessibility to content you may want to watch on other platforms. I can watch Japanese Netflix. Is that even a thing? Maybe. You can find out with NordVPN. It is worth mentioning that CIG and Star Citizen don't actually produce a NordVPN ship yet, but NordVPN is available separately from the links below, and clicking those does help me buy spaceships, so it's basically the same thing, right? Go to nordvpn.com/BoredGamer, get Nord, give ships, I don't know, that's an amazing promo. Every month, we give away a ship for Star Citizen. For February 2024, we're giving away a Drake Corsair Explorer with lifetime insurance and a game package. Everything you need to play and explore Star Citizen in style. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning that is comment on any of my videos made during this month. It is as easy as that. More details in the comments below. A massive thank you to everyone that goes the extra mile in supporting the channel. It is with your support we are able to make daily Star Citizen videos. If you want to be one of those lovely people, then please check out the join button under my videos. That will help you become a channel member. There's Patreon, there's direct donations. All the links for all of that are down below. But there are loads of non-monetary ways you can help support us. Commenting, sharing, liking, all of that sort of stuff goes a huge way in helping the channel grow. Thank you so much for watching to the end, and you have a great day.